in the middle of doing our thing, and then we realize we're live. It's amazing how it happens so quickly.
Yes.
When you don't expect it.
Yeah, so bang online.
Yeah, and on time.
Well, it was a little bit expected. But for the others, since it's 3 o'clock on day 13, which we had noticed, it's almost halfway through. There are 27 Beregini. So today is like, yeah, sort of halfway and a half. Tomorrow it's
Yeah,
already over the half. So
yeah.
we are in this in-between space today of the completion of 27 at the end. So how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. And I'm also very aware how many times during the course of already over these few times we've been in this halfway space. And we've mentioned it quite a few times, haven't we? Where we had kind of like different moments where there was this halfway space where I had two cards and not one, and there was not knowing, that kind of in between space. And it seems to be that we're moving into the next bit, out of the halfway into the new way, which is quite nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I got used to it because this is the reality, isn't
Yeah,
it? Of the in between our in and out breath. This is
yeah,
exactly what brings us the breath of life, those in
exactly.
between spaces. And if we invite them in and become more and more comfortable to weave with them and develop even a practice how to be with this in between, what is emerging.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm certainly enjoying it very, very much.
yeah,
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 and
yeah, yeah.
it's about this intentional holding space. I just love it. I missed you yesterday. I missed
Yeah,
the
I missed you.
interaction. Even though your meditation was absolutely beautiful,
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
but I must admit, I got used to this practice of sharing because it brings it more alive.
yeah,
Whilst the meditation, when I'm doing by myself without the interaction,
yeah.
it feels more detached. It's still something like all the divine energies. How do I connect with the divine? But I don't feel quite as intimate as
Yeah,
when we are
yeah, yeah.
doing it together and sharing, because then it's really here. It's with
It's
me. It's through the holding the thread and to do like something creative with the hands. Then I feel more fulfilled and more intimate with you, with this Beregini energy, and with what is then emerging from the others when they start to share. It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
being really in love with the creations. It's amazing.
It's and I guess I hadn't really realized for myself just how much I had kind of started to see the different unfolding taking place. And so now when I look back at where I started to where I am now, there's been a massive shift in a lot of things. So it's been really nice to see that it is about moving out of the box and into something new, which is where we're shifting out of that old space into a new one. And so it's been nice to just reflect over that the first half. And I'm
Mm.
curious about what this new half is going to bring. I'm really curious about that because my gut sense is that this is about the getting into and moving out into the world. That's what my gut is bringing me. But
Mm.
I wait and yet to see if that is what it's meant to be. I'm sure it is, but it feels as though there is something about that bringing the manifestation down
Mm.
and containing it in a way and then utilizing it so that it becomes a force of good in the way that it's intended. Yeah.
Beautiful. So, what do you feel the shift is about for you? What kind of shift is your shift?
Well, it was really interesting because we have this title, Weaving Wealth Women. And we're on our own journey, our own personal wealth journey, you and I.
Mm.
And that's how it was started. And really just looking now at undoing a lot of those old beliefs that I had, and just kind of looking into that new space of how we, you and I, want to create wealth that's more in line with our spirit and with our soul and these kinds of things, and not going and doing the old stuff that everybody is currently doing. They're doing quite the old repetitive stuff that you get your inbox filled with thousands of emails and all these kinds of things.
True.
With no choice. You don't even get a choice to optimize how many emails you want. It's just you either have one choice or no choice. It's a binary thing. Whereas earlier on in a lot of the emails, you used to be able to have a choice to have one weekly or one every 3 days or whatever. And now it's no one gives you a choice. And that makes it very binary and very unhelpful, I think, to the respectful energy of a person. So one is giving permission. So how do you want the permission? If I'm coming into your space, how many times is it not, does it feel like we still got this relationship, and at the same time not being overwhelmed by huge amount of stuff? So, because our time is precious, really. And everybody's trying to crowd it.
Very precious.
So how do we do that in such a way as spiritual wealthy women? How do we do that? I just want to make sure my email is shut down so that I don't keep having messages come through.
Speaking of too much messages, and can you maybe clarify how the practice of weaving together the Bereginis has supported you in this shift, what you're experiencing?
I think one of the biggest shifts happened when I noticed just about the ending and the beginnings of when I start, and just noticing that bit of dissonance or that bit of anxiety or that bit of something that happened when I was trying to finish something and I only had a little bit of thread. And then I would work, and then I kind of was able, and I guess if I hadn't been doing this, I wouldn't have thought about that. And I wouldn't have seen it as a very, very big picture. So often the little things we do are the microcosm of our macrocosm. So, and it's just really noticing what is it that you're doing, and seeing how does that reflect through your health? How does it reflect into your wealth? How does it reflect into, because that has, it spirals out to those 8 different, well, I think of more, maybe there's more or subgroups of the 8, but the 8s are our relationships with others, our relationships with self, and our relationship with our mind, certainly, and our relationship with spirit. So all of those, a thread can interact in all of them. So for me, it was just really looking at how do I set a plan now? One, in the immediate, like, okay, I'm going to choose not to do that. How does that then give me a ripple effect? So consciously doing a small task, how do I intend it to make a big effect, if that makes sense? So doing these Bereginis, they are small, but these small things have got a lot of, well, there's a lot of power, but it's what we're noticing as we're doing it that brings the power. So yes, that's been really interesting for me. So that's how I think it's going to manifest out, and I think the idea of really getting in touch with that has kind of opened up potential for how we might take things forward, and that for me is just wonderful. And we'll be talking about that very soon again. So I'm looking forward to that.
Beautiful. So it's really noticing how the beginning and the end of a thread, and how we consciously, when we lead the thread, what is emerging, those are the possibilities and the miracles. And if I heard it properly, then it was a major realization for you for example, at the end of the thread, that you don't have to stress around that there is not enough. There is enough thread.
Yeah.
And if you're consciously aware about that, then this abundant ending of one little project, like one Beregini, you can take it for bigger projects, like
yes, it
weaving
generalizes
wealth,
out.
like for example, weaving wealth projects, and where we might want to develop it into, and
Exactly.
and that is about like this microcosm, like how we hold the thread. It then automatically transmits into the macrocosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Very potent.
It is. And it's been really great, because I know when we started thinking about this 27 days of Christmas, and I just had a real panic when we said, oh, we must do it. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to do 27 days on the trot. But it really does make me think about, and a little bit about what was yesterday's card, which is also about the consistency of ritual.
Yes.
And the consistency of doing something every day to build that energy up. So yeah, we do it in asanas, you do it in many different ways. And yeah, this is one of the ways. So it's been a very big blessing.
Yeah, and I follow more and more my evolutionary impulse and intuition, different ways to say it. And it was just a pull, I think, from the Bereginis, like we have to do this challenge to gift ourselves for Christmas. And I think, like, since I like to weave so many different threads together, this form is like it contains a lot of gifts.
Yeah.
Like we witness each other, we hold sacred space, we practice sacred ritual on an ongoing basis for 27 days. People say like at least we need 21 days for new habits to really last, to stick with us. And here we have got an opportunity even for 27. And speaking about manifestation, when we're doing it, we really literally gift ourselves like this womb pouch with so many different energies. I mean, 27 different goddess energies. How potent is that? Yeah. So it's just like weaving on so many different levels, which I think is a real gift. And I really enjoy that. And the witnessing is also very important. Like the witnessing, sacred space, ritual, the discipline of showing up and actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many different gifts.
Yeah, that showing up is really important. Really important, I think.
Yeah, and the commitment has got to do with commitment and showing up. Like I've got those 3 different words from the integral theory. Ken Wilber, he's always explains the integral theory based on those 3 different concepts. Yeah. And he says like, wake up, grow up, show up. Yeah. Or other way is like, how is it? Beauty, the schöne, truth, beauty, truth, and grace.
Yes.
Those are those 3 pillars.
Yeah.
And I think they're very, very important. And for me, it's awakening is to the certain energy which is weaving through us. That's awakening. Growing up is to be very present how it weaves through us. And if there are shadows coming up, triggers, anything what comes up in the space, it's part of growing up to be very present to what is. And to show up is doing it again and again, and then again and again. As often as we do it, then it becomes like a lift meditation. Then I don't no longer need to have like I have to sit or meditate. It becomes a lived experience, like
a living meditation, walking meditation, what they call it, I think.
Yes,
walking your way in meditation. Yeah.
And for that, I'm so grateful that with this embroidery, it's one nice way for me to practice all of those pillars. And even more fun to do it together with you and with others who are on the thread. being together, yeah, living
And
together.
and I think there's also something really beautiful was the idea that, you had used the Bereginis from the Seven Wings, and you had done them from the cards. And now it's kind of taking a life of its own
Yes.
with everyone. And everyone now has a unique kind of bit of artistry that
Mm.
they have created that is so meaningful for them.
Yes.
And I think that's been a real big gift that you've
And
given.
that's the magic. The magic really lies when we are doing it, because we're all unique. As soon
Yes,
as we pick up the thread, we breathe life to those Bereginis,
yeah,
and they're all unique.
they are. They are indeed. And it is amazing because I mean, I don't know when you originally did them, if you followed them straight from the without deviating, and then now it's kind of like you're now finding your own and adding to more to you, or finding out more about that Beregini that is yours.
Absolutely, because the first time around I really just followed exactly the
Mm,
symbols from the cards, and it's now totally different because the energy is different now.
exactly.
uh,
Yeah.
and it's like they're really telling a totally different stories. Like, while we are sharing in the group, and they're all
Yeah,
like,
they're amazing.
everyone is totally different.
Well,
And like a real piece of art, like, with
mm,
its own story of this particular day, energy, moment, and it's much more fun, I must say, because yeah, it's about this lived experience, which adds much more depth, uh, much more
mm,
joy into
yeah.
it. And I think, like, the way I perceive it, that's what God's goddesses want from us. If we connect with them, it when we are adding our unique creative touch, at least I perceive it, like my ancestors or the gods, goddesses,
Mm,
they're really full of joy, because they don't want us to be like detached from them. And I think that's what the Bible says: don't make a picture out of me. Uh, it creates distance. It's like, you are there, God is there,
mm,
and it's a separation. Right? So when we really connect and bring our unique touch to that, that's what Barbara Max Hubbard used to say. This
yeah.
is like this vocational arousal. We are aroused, and the God is aroused, or the goddess with us. And then we feel oneness, we feel joy. This
Mm,
is how true creation happens, or
yeah.
co-creation in that way with those energies. We're not separate. We don't have to like do like this. No, we are co-creators. We're on
Yeah.
the same plateau. The God needs us and we need God, and the other way around.
Yes, and I think that's a really important, that is such an important thing. God needs us.
Yes, every single one of us, and every single expression, which is this
Mm,
invisible golden thread of genius of us,
yeah.
is needed, because otherwise this big tapestry is not complete. The creation is not complete,
Yeah.
and we are all here for a reason. We are a big puzzle in this big
Yeah.
puzzle of the world, and everyone is needed. Yeah, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that sometimes in kind of like the new world, where we've kind of, a lot of people just don't believe anymore in God. And yeah, that's the left brain, sciencey brain, that's there. But it's really about a re-examination of what is God, or the
Mm.
goddess. What is that examination that allows you to put it in the right place? Because right now, I think even just doing this is really interesting. Actually, I forgot to mention this. Whereas I kept feeling guilty when I was thinking about God or the goddess and these kind of things. And all of a sudden, I actually realized that I don't even have to refer to them in any particular way anymore. It's almost like I'm free to just worship in the way that I need to worship. And it's completely different. It's like all of it, I now have a deeper understanding and then a deeper connection, which is interesting. So, I go with the feeling, and like you go with your womb, just go with the feeling and just allow the feeling to direct me.
Yes.
And whereas before, and that doesn't mean to say you don't use your brain, you still use your brain, but it's about letting your brain be of service to it rather than letting it be of disservice. And I kind of always think about the idea that, and in fact, the brain is there to serve the body so that the body survives. The essence, whatever the energy, the soul survives because the soul lives in the body, or the spirit lives in the body. Energy is the spirit. So when you start to think, well, actually, it's meant to be in service, it's kind of like, wow, okay, if that's the case, then it means that I need to use my feeling first before I use my thinking. Go with the feeling first, then ask in service to that. So it's kind of like that same thing. What would love want me to do? What does my womb tell me right now I need to do? It's been a really different way because I've always been a lot in my head, as you probably were a long time ago.
Yes.
So it's really coming
Not even that
down
long time ago. About 7 years ago, I was still
right.
most of the time in my head. Yeah.
One
It
of
was a
those
practice.
transitions.
It's a journey. It's a literal journey to reintegrate those dislocated places. Like, what is my womb? What is my root chakra? All those like lower chakras are most of the time disintegrated in us humans because it's interconnected with the patriarchal state. With the patriarchal state, they want you to think logically, to be in competition, to have results. Yeah. So everything above the heart is more propagated for. So no wonder that most of us, neither, it doesn't matter if we are women or men, we are very detached from our lower chakras. And lower chakra, the womb is all the sacral area. It's all the lower chakras. So it's no wonder. So it was the same for me, obviously. And it took a conscious journey, healing journey to be more and more consciously living from the womb.
And today, while I was doing my 72 names, because I lie in bed and I just kind of go through them and absorb them, and I had this image of this like the staff, or which one is it? Algaze? No, it's not algaze. It's which one is the straight one?
The one with the the arms up.
No, that's algaze. Algaze.
Yeah.
The one that is straight.
Isa.
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 Reminds me. Okay, it does make sense, but there's also the Isa that is there is a sound like that in one of the old gods of the Bible. But it had I had this image coming in, and then I had the two snakes. And he was literally being observed by these two snakes. So I thought that's interesting. And the actual emanation of what it is speaking to God. Is the actual the name? It's called speaking to God. So it's a really interesting thing. And then I had seeing these two snakes there, and I thought, well, okay, this makes sense. So all of these things are starting to break away. So I think since I've really connected, a lot of things have been breaking away. And I never thought that would have happened if I hadn't done this, actually, to be really honest. Just sitting there and connecting, and not necessarily going too deeply, but just really observing, just observing what's emerging. I think is the key here. The growing up.
The growing up is another metaphor, parenting of our emotions.
Exactly.
which are coming up. And this is
We're
the
moving.
potential, like the 98 potential in the subconscious or the weird,
Yeah.
which actually just wants to be reparented, to be re-embraced, to looked at. And yeah, and it can be very simple. It doesn't mean that it's easy, because a lot of emotions which come up are not really easy, but the process is always the
Yeah.
same, isn't it? Like,
But you know what's even more amazing, and I mean, you and I both done symbolic language, clean language, is that whatever we do represents something.
mhm,
So even just paying attention to the thread, we are automatically, by association, by making the connection, that changes it within our whole neurology.
mm,
So it's already uncoding it and unwinding it by doing the physical manifestation of what we've connected to. So
yeah.
we don't have to necessarily go out and do deep, deep, deep work. Actually, we can do very simple as long as we're connected. As long
Mm,
as we go, okay, that came out, right? Okay, what is the thing that I now choose to do with this action? And because we know in the symbolic space, it can change just by doing one action and not
yeah.
necessarily, yeah, of that kind of space. And that reminded me of something where I was reading about how the ancient Egyptians used to have many different tasks for fear. I think we spoke about this once before, which I was reading. Like, for example, if you have a fear of drowning, you don't
Mm,
go and help someone firewalk for that. You've got to
mhm,
give them the right kind of stimulus that's going to overcome their fear of drowning.
yeah.
Yeah. You take them to the drowning place. Or if you're worrying about fire, then you get them to do a firewalk. So there's something very specific
Mm,
about the kind of thing that you need to do. Some people can do a firewalk and then can have huge amounts of confidence.
mhm.
But, I don't think necessarily it does make you more confident. It may, maybe if that would be somebody else's, but it may not be the right kind of panacea, medicine for it, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes total sense, because I think all the healing comes from inside. That's why I love soul-based coaching, because there we always think that the person themselves have got all the answers, and sometimes it needs to be uncovered.
Yeah.
It takes time, because it's a new approach, because we live in a problem-oriented society where we are being brought up. You have to go and consult a doctor, whoever, and they have to give us the solution. Whilst like shamans or like soul-based
Mm.
coaching goes also into the very similar line, is to ask the right questions, where we ourselves give ourselves the medicine, because
Yeah.
only we know what is unique to us. Nobody else
Yeah.
can do it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it just takes sometimes a bit longer if it like very much in the shadow, or very
Mm.
traumatic. It just takes much longer to activate those self-healing powers, but still we carry all the right answers within ourselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why our unique Beregini, this is the key for
Mm.
our way to connect with a certain energy. And but it does take quite like a big shift,
Yeah.
because even me at the beginning of the training to become service coach, it was like such a big aha moment. Alone with
Mm.
this question, what would you like to have happen? It's like, huh? What do you mean? What would I like to have happen? It's
I
like,
know.
I need to be prepared. I need to know what is my soul wanting from me now. But I was used to also go to counselor for 20 years, and the counselor should heal me. You should tell me like what I do. What would you like to happen? So this is a major shift, to go
Yeah.
more and more inside, to connect with your soul, and then it goes even deeper, like to the womb. It's like endless, like. But still,
Mm.
this is like the own best healing journey we can do, to go inside, and especially embrace the traumas and the shadows and everything what comes up, And it's okay then to ask for support and everything, because we're not meant to do it by ourselves. But the realization that we still have got everything within us, it's major transformation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think certainly in NLP, that's one of the very fundamental presuppositions of which part of clean language came from. So yeah, it's that the person has all the resources within themselves.
Yeah.
And really, it's, you know, as a therapist, it's part of your job to help them find themselves, you know, find their own way, and just be the guide. Yeah, create the space that allows it to happen. Yeah. Oh.
Well, it's halfway through already, and we have not even opened the space for today's friend.
So now let's open
but
the
I
space.
feel sharing, it's already like the friend is very much present today.
Exactly. This is what the friends are about, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the friend.
They're talking to each other. Oh, lots of ways. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to just quickly, while you do that, I'm going to put this on so that you can.
You ready?
I'm ready. You go for it.
So the theme is prayer. Affirmation. I connect with others through the power of words. I listen and understand. I speak and am understood. The usage is to strengthen the power of words for support and protection in difficult situations.
Beautiful.
Nice.
I'm just letting it go all the way into my womb. I'm breathing. I'm doing a womb breathe.
Nice. And it's so intimate. It feels so intimate. Like
it does. It does. It almost feels
really like you say the womb, but it really looks like this is the center. I see like a human being there.
Yeah.
And it's like drawing everything really close, like as close as possible to the woman. For me, it came up yesterday already because I've embroidered the word in the middle.
Oh yes, I saw that.
And with the wisdom also, like to draw in all these different perspectives in the womb first, before then go out and take action, like the warrior rune yesterday, Tiva. And this one feels similar, like draw everything now really close to me. It's like into the womb.
Yeah, it is. It does. It's drawing everything. And yet there's some that's connected and there's some that's a space apart, which is interesting. So you've got, but if you, if you know, so you have, depending on which way you look, it look like people kissing, or it could be, you know, giving space so that each can be, and you've got a creation in the middle. So it's really so many things in there.
Yeah. And of course, the colors play a role as well. So the black around is like our, like more like it's from the Naf world, so from the roots, from the ancestral, from the lower world. This is like a protection shield here first inside, and also here.
Yeah.
And then when life force energies, challenges come from the outside, we are very protected from the inside with the black. And the Kenash runes from yesterday. No, the Kenash runes was not yesterday, it was another day. But this is definitely a Kenash rune.
You've also got the other, you've also got that shape, haven't you, in the runes as well, like the fence.
Well, there is the Gebo. This is like a cross. There's the Gebo. And I think 2 days ago, which looked similar, that was the Notiz. Notiz, the neat rune, but it looks slightly different. And yes, And this is the Ingwash rune.
Yes.
All this together in the middle. And the Ingwash rune stands for the inner fire.
Ah,
And for the
that
god
makes sense.
God Ink is the one who brings fire. And it stands for the gestation period, so for birthing something new. So this is the Ingwash
That
rune.
makes sense, doesn't that? For me, that makes sense.
And
That
of
makes
course,
a
now the
lot of-
Kenash runes around, they bring like the fire. But you need this gestation period, like really carrying the seed inside until it can go outside.
Yeah, it does feel in a way, I know that sounds like communication, but it also feels like something you're creating, doesn't it? It has the sense of something in the womb for
Yeah,
me.
and of course the Ingwash is all about carrying it in the womb. It's the gestation periods. That's where the seed gets planted. But before going outside to take action, you just have to gestate. You
Be
have
ready.
to
Yeah.
wait until it's ready.
But actually, and there in themselves another paradox. As humans, none of the babies are actually ready like animals out on the plains, which get up and walk within 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There's an ability to be not so ready, but still be able to go out. So there's something about having the courage to move forward, even if it's not 100% complete. So that comes into my thing, because baby is nearly complete, but it's not complete.
Exactly.
And then it takes time to become complete. So that, whereas if you look at a giraffe, for example, it's walking within 5 minutes.
True.
So yeah, so it's quite an interesting.
Very interesting.
Wow, this is very colorful. This, whoa! I don't know how to interpret that, but
I see all different lines.
Yeah. Well, there's pink, and there's actually pink, darker pink, purple, green. There's a little bit of gold sort of in the background. Wow. This, oh wow. There's in Hebrew, there's the word he, which is doorway, window, which means window. So this is kind of reminding me, this is the window that we're looking at, ready to go. That's what it feels like for me. That's interesting.
Nice. But I can see it on one side, on the left.
Yeah.
It's more prominent on the left.
The greeny color.
The green and the indigo.
Yeah. So there's the green there, and then you've got the purple here.
Yeah, on this side, on the left-hand side.
Yeah, this is very dark pink, it looks like. Yeah. And pink up all around there. Oops, sorry. This doesn't, what you don't see when it go there is it has 4,000 things that it can reference against in frequencies. So you're able to kind of balance all of them.
Okay.
And it'll go with what's the highest, what's affecting the highest. Okay, I've taken a picture of that. Right,
okay.
Let's do
and I switch on the candle then now?
Yes.
For the friend, I mean, today the friend has already been there, of course, from the beginning, but now officially with the light. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all beings remain free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings remain connected to sacred joy and happiness that is totally free from sorrow. May all beings come to rest in the feeling of security and peace. May all beings be happy, content, and fulfilled. And so be it.
And so be it.
I always find it so beautiful, like after the prayer, when this is present in all of us, then all those energies can really blossom. It's like
Yeah.
after each prayer, I can say, and so be it, and the friend is with us, and so be it, and the goddess is with us, and so be it, and the discovery is coming with us, and then the queen, because then we are really open for
Yeah.
all those energies. Whereas when we suffer, when we are not in joy, when we feel separated, yeah, we cannot let in these energies, and we cannot weave. So it's the foundation
Hmm.
for all the higher vibration to enter us.
Yeah, it's absolute surrender in a way, isn't it? So be it. I let it be. I surrender to it rather than I try more.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah, beautiful.
And
Mm.
what kind of tarot card have you got for us today?
I have, you won't believe this, but we had the two of wands yesterday. Guess what we got today?
Loose.
The two of cups. The two of cups.
Oh, we had that before, didn't we?
No, we've had the zodiac and starry water, but we've not had the two of cups.
Mm.
So we had the two of wands yesterday, which was all about getting ready to go out into the world. Yeah.
But the same picture we had before already with pentacles, with six pentacles, it looks very much alive.
Well, I think the thing that's really is that I realized when I went and saw the person who made these things, the cards, and I bought them then. I hadn't basically we hadn't received the cards yet, and she was only showing it because she was talking about the journey of why she was creating the cards and what that was about. And she never ever showed us a picture, and I've got the lecture notes. She never ever showed us a picture of court cards. She only showed us the 22 paths of the tree, which are all the major arcana cards. So I didn't know that all of the other cards had just the tree with the flash of light going down. So the pathway, light coming to earth. So yeah, it's always got that. They're all, I think all the court cards have the tree of life on them.
Okay.
So that was interesting. So yes, we have had pentacles and we have those same ones, but it's where it is. I think what's different is that she's put a boundary around each one where it kind of represents on the tree for the area. So the two, it is basically the first emanation that comes out from the head to the second. So it's kind of like not quite kind of space of knowledge, of knowing, of experimenting, and that kind of in Chokmah. But the two of cups is really two of the water, isn't it? It's two of the receiving, and part of the two of cups is basically in the old tarots, men and women looking at each other, and you have the sign of the snakes intertwining. So again, it's about the duality and recognizing the duality of things, but it's more about, in the kind of two of cups, recognizing yourself, recognizing that what you really are always looking for is the upper half of yourself. And that's what we find in other people. We are looking, if we're looking for a partner, often we're looking at that other part of ourselves that we have got to grow. Yeah. So if we're looking for someone to support us in something else, it's where are we not supporting ourselves in the way that we would want a partner to support us? So how do we put that in place? And it doesn't mean that we can't get the partner. It just means that we need to have a recognition of what this is about. Yeah.
Even though I think the new partnerships of the future are the ones where both are already whole. That's why Barbara Marx Hubbard used to say whole mates. The future of humanity is built on co-creation of whole mates. It could be a partner, but then you don't necessarily come together to be codependent. Even soul partners that still want to find the piece which is missing from them. Whilst whole mates, they are already whole, yeah, which we, of course, we are already anyway, but a lot of times we have to do some work to get to the separation part within ourselves to then really feel it and to live it. And if people like that come together, then you really join geniuses where this new human amor, human universalis happens. And it's no longer just for the getting babies and share lives because it's easier then. No, because then we really come from our highest possible selves, and then we can really co-create on so many different levels. Because it comes not from lack, but from wholeness, from abundance.
Yeah.
And that is the future. And I think there are not so many people like this, but I'm very optimistic that this is our future. How people are going to come together on those terms. Yeah.
You're freezing up, and I don't know whether that's mine or yours.
Oh, I think since my internet is new with a new box, maybe for changing on your, I don't know.
Well, let's see. We'll see if we look at the video. We'll know then which one it is. Anyway.
But it doesn't matter as long as it's it stays with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Little interruptions are welcome.
Well, we'll just say that's because we're talking about highly energetic stuff. Okay. What
Even
about
the internet
you?
cannot keep up with that.
Well, I'm aware it's 14:47, and we need to bring your ones in. So can you bring the
mine card today?
Please. Yes.
Taming the Wind.
Woo! Oh my goodness! Wow.
I never drew this card before.
Right, now I want to see all those pictures there. So I'm
there's
putting my glasses
so
on.
much symbolism in there.
I know.
Certainly birds and feathers.
Oh, wow.
I wonder what is this inside, the white dot. And it's like being the eye in the storm, I think. They're in the center.
Right. Okay. So like the center of a hurricane or something like that.
This is what comes up to me right now. I don't have the guidebook printed out, so I always make like a snippet later on and send it. So this is free intuitive interpretation.
As it should be for us individually, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
it's also got the spiral in it. Yeah.
I prefer it that way. So for me, it's definitely like be the center or the eye in the storm.
It is in the center of her, really. So that makes sense.
And they're all different birds. There's the raven. There's another bird here.
And it's like that's a hummingbird that looks like on where her face is.
Yes, it is.
It's a hummingbird? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
Lots of feathers and
there's a tree behind her. So she's being supported by
a big moon. Taming the Wind. Beautiful. Yes, for me it's a nice reminder. It's like with all elements, they can also go quite crazy, isn't it? Like the fire, knowing how to tame the fire. Too much earth, we are stuck. We cannot move forward. So all energies which are also within us,
Yeah.
we don't know how to use them most productively, can reach havoc, can cause quite a lot of havoc. And
I am aware that as I look at that card, the coloring is still, the color that's in the middle from here looks very similar to the color that's outside. So it's almost like you're looking through her. So there's a kind of something, and I suppose what's coming there is that, because the wind is about moving through, isn't it? So there's something there that I'm not quite sure grasping of yet, but it feels like there's something about letting the wind blow the cobwebs, or the wind do the clearing, because the wind is often associated with spirit, isn't it?
yes, it's spirit, but also thinking, the mind. And of course, we are moving now to the age of air, of Aquarius. Not long anymore. On the 21st, we are moving. It's a great conjunction where Saturn and Jupiter are moving into the Aquarius. And of course, we have got like a major solar eclipse coming up as well. So we are again in between the spaces of moving into the air, wind era to last like another 200 years.
So there's something.
But at the same time, there is a lot of, between the eclipses anyway, there's a lot of like energies. It's like, whoa, very wild energies.
So there's something about grounding and being aware of that.
Yes. I think the grounding is very important. That's why the tree.
Exactly. That's why
we need to really stay grounded to handle all those crazy energies like transformation and rebirth energies, which are all over the place. Taming the wind.
Yes. Let's see what rune comes up now.
The rune for today is we had that before. This is the air was. This is this. Speaking of the tree, it's like also like a world tree, like with roots and wings to ground ourselves. It also stands for the Kundalini energy. Then you've got the two snakes, if they're in harmony. Then they can go up the tree, which is our body.
Yeah.
And then we can really tame the Kundalini energy. I had that before, didn't I, as well, as a main message. Ground myself within myself in order to be able to birth the new energies and the Kundalini energy. Life force energy. So it's about balance.
Yeah, and healing, because Kundalini is healing, isn't it? It's about bringing all that energy up and just, in a way, firing away what doesn't belong, burning away what doesn't belong, and integrating what does.
Yes. And it's about bringing this energy up and also down again. It's a circulation. It's an in and out breath. Like that's why one snake stands for bringing it up and the other one for bringing it down, ground. And only when those are in harmony can we fully become vessels for the Shakti, for the Kundalini to really flow through us. Yeah. Go well together. Like this and this goes very well together. And also your card,
which is, Kundalini is part of the love stuff. So yes, and interestingly enough, have a look when you won't see it, but this is I haven't got the wide awake, but there's the picture of it in the wide awake, which you can see the snakes.
Yes, they are the snakes and the wings and both.
Yeah. So you can see it's definitely very Kundalini orientated today. And the sun is blessing it in the above. So that's really nice. Yeah, the earth coming up. Yeah. So yes, beautiful. Well, stitchy stitch. Well, we probably won't have very much time to stitch.
No,
As such.
I mean, it's already 5 minutes to our hour, so I guess we stitch afterwards, after we invited those energies. So this has been the day of sharing more than.
Yeah, it's been a good sharing day. What I shall do before we go is just do the one more balance and see what happened with sharing. I've never had it to do that before. That's really interesting because I really did have seen. Okay, so now it's gone more to green. So sharing opened the heart. Yeah. So it's gone more green. There we are. Can you? Are you at that angle? You're seeing more of the blue. Actually, it's more green. And
it's
green
interesting how the energies which have been on the left have now shifted more all on the right and turned like from bright to blue and green.
Yeah. And I think wind, wind, water are blue colors. So you're shifting between water and or sense of spirit connecting with something deeper, and the yellow, which is because blue and green make yellow, and so therefore you think of the sun often as being yellow, although we know it's green really, but it comes down and the yellow is mixing with the blue to make that green. So the green is really, in the Kabbalah, it means love. I mean, blue means love. So you're bringing the essence of the heart of the solar plexus up. So we're rising, we're letting the Kundalini rise to the heart. So what you're doing is you're then creating this greenness, which is then reflecting what the real color of the sun is, green. So yeah, it feels like that is what that is, because we've been talking about the rising in a way of Kundalini and rising up of stuff coming up. So yeah, that's interesting. Not very much blue, but there is enough yellow to show that it's probably mixed with the blue. Yeah.
Well, fits together with the friend's energy of speaking and being understood.
Yes.
And seen, and that's where the sharing was more prominent today.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any final words before we leave for today?
I think what's coming in for me is I suppose when I looked at the Beregini today and paying attention to that things that are protected. So there's this beautiful substance, whatever is in the middle or and then you've got the protection, so that whatever's inside is being looked after. So so that's there. So I'm guessing what my idea is thinking is look for ways to contain things so that it can grow and nurture, and then allow it to have space, which we see in there. Give it space to be scaffolded as it grows. Yeah, that's what sort of comes to me. And for you, what's overwhelming?
Well, for me, if taming the wind, for me, this is also on the medicine wheel. The wind is up north, and so it comes from up. like from above. But we need the other elements to reach balance. So here as well, when it comes from above, we need to ground it.
Yeah.
To bring in the earth elements and the fire. Yeah. Otherwise, if there is no balance.
Yeah.
And also the Echwas runes reminds me as well that you need to ground it, because the tree is as below as above. So
yeah,
it's like the winds in the sky. It's like when there's a thunderstorm or lots of wind, you need very strong roots, which a tree has. So it's about building strong roots to be able to tame the wind or to tame the life force energy going all wild within us. So I think this is going to be a very important message for us for this upcoming age of Aquarius, to really know practices to ground ourselves.
And I'm also, I mean, what's really drawing me is also to remember that space for things to flow. There's grounding, but there's also accommodating the space. So when we think of breathing, we always think of the in and the outward breath, but actually we only absorb during the in-between times. So that's when things happen, not the in and out is just the vessel. Yeah. And I'm getting the sense of that's what's a little bit of the vessel. So as the vessel, where are you just the vessel? And where are you the form that allows whatever transformation can happen? So
Yes.
yeah. So it's like what vessel are you using right now? And can that vessel allow it to flow? So the way, if you turn that around different ways, one, it becomes almost like a vessel with things coming through. And the other way, it looks more like you've got the tree and grounding with the other coming in. So it's quite a different, depending on which way you look at it. But
true,
it is about both sides, isn't it? It's about having that balance of all sides.
Yeah, and of course the vessel is inside. This is the Ingwash rune. It's all about gestation periods. Where are you the vessel to receive, to gestate all this, what's coming up to you? Yeah. Nice. To handle the Kenash, the fire, the wind.
Yeah, there's so many of the runes in there as we look at them. They're amazing. Yeah.
And the Gebo, to share your gifts, you need to ground yourself and to also then be able to pass it on to the world. So equal exchange needs to be there between the different elements and resources.
That's beautiful.
So I'm curious, what is, when we're taking out all of this, what is going to happen when we embroider it?
Well, I'm certain you know there are two people that have been doing some amazing Bereginis. I'm waiting for the other ones too, but those two, Brindy and yeah, I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Shelly
and Brandy have been very active.
Shelly and Brandy have been doing amazing stuff.
That's true. And I'm sure so many on the thread as well in their own time.
Yeah. So we're really looking forward to being able to put them up. And you're going to do a collage of all the pictures, aren't you? So that will be when everything's finished. So hopefully people share your keys for us. That will be really nice. That'll be the start.
I'm not sure whether I'm going to manage to do it this year, because for me, after the challenge, there are going to be the sacred 12 nights where I'm totally offline and only as a vessel for those energies where the wheels are
but it's just the start.
But we will definitely do a collage, and we are also working on these journals to get it finished by Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, they'll be finished. So yes. All right. Well, I have to go, and you. So take care.
Bye. Take care. Enjoy the embroidering in your own time. And see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Many blessings.
Well, we showed today. We've been doing growing up, showing up.
Growing up and showing up. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Yes. Bye-bye. You too. Bye-bye.